So it's just us this week,
Yeah.
and I'm really worried
Yeah.
because I don't know if we have the chemistry or frankly stamina involved in running a two-person podcast.
Right. Right. Like, no, maybe if we like had a full itinerary and a schedule that we moved through to talk about things, maybe, but
Yeah.
even then, I don't know that we have chemistry.
I don't know if we had that's the problem. It's the chemistry.
Yeah.
It's how do we can I make jokes with you the same way I do with say listeners? You may not have ever noticed this. I never make jokes with Cordell. Cordell's always there for the jokes, but they're always
Mhm.
with Sammy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't really see it in most of the recordings because they're all audio. But like, Caleb doesn't even look at me.
I never have, and I'm still not.
I just, it's crazy, you know. Samantha's really the glue that holds us together as people. And I don't know that I can do this
I guess we'll have to try.
because this is Junk House.
It's a psychobilly freakout!
Welcome back. It's the show. I'm not going to say the name this time. So, but it is that. And Sammy's not here. And also, this is the first episode Sammy has ever missed.
Correct.
That,
Anytime Sammy's been unable to record, we have not recorded. This is the first time that we're doing it without her.
For real. And like this show was born out of legitimately Cordell and I were like trying to come up with we wanted to do another podcast with Sammy. So this is very weird to do the show that was born out of the idea of do a podcast with Sammy. But now we're doing it without her for this episode. It feels weird.
I mean, I've missed like 30, maybe 40% of our episodes. I've barely even been here, but she's 100%er.
Yeah. I've missed a couple. I feel like fewer than 10.
I mean, I think you've only missed one. There's only one duo episode Sammy and I have done.
Yeah, and Sammy and I have done a few duo episodes and guest episodes and stuff.
Right. I've been gone a fair amount.
Yeah. But that's okay. Your life is in that phase. So that's what if that's what's needed, it's what's needed. Cordell, would you like to hear about some very boring sports drama?
Yeah, actually. This is that kind of morning for me.
All right. I sent you a picture in your DMs, and I need you to look, and if it didn't send correctly, let me know, and I can just share screen and show you.
Is it going to be under the nudes you send me?
Yes.
Okay.
Under the thousands? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scrolling for a while here.
Yeah, it's gonna take a bit. I'm sorry. That's just what it takes.
Downloaded the picture. Like whatever this is, my computer downloaded it.
Okay, good. Very good.
Golly.
This is a man.
Oh no, it's just a string of code.
Oh no.
Give me a second.
Okay, hold on. I attempted to send my friend a picture of the man that I'm gonna be talking about, and it opened as a string of code. Okay.
I can fix this.
Hold on. So I'm talking about a man.
It's just a string of code again.
Oh no. Oh, this sounds so bad already. This is why we need Sammy.
Sammy, save us.
Sammy, please save us.
Oh, okay. Look at him.
Yes, this man, his name is Dave Jenkins. So for listeners at home, this is a very old man. in a
Can we call
bowler
him
hat.
Jackins, do you think? Or do you know for a fact it's Jakins?
I have not.
Because it's Jakins, and it might be funnier to call him Jackins.
Okay, so Dave Jackins. What you know about Conkers, Cordell?
Are they people who play Conker's Bad Fur Day, the classic Rareware game?
So it is not people who play Conker's Bad Fur Day. A conker is a chestnut that has a hole burrowed through the middle, and then you tie a piece of string around it, so that way you can like flick it at people. And Dave Jackins, his nickname is King Conker.
Wait, you're tying a string around a chestnut and flicking it.
Yeah, so basically, like, imagine sideways tetherball. There's one conker hanging down from a limb, and then you take the other conker that's in your hand, and you flick it, and you try to make the conker that's around the limb, like, spin around until it wraps around enough. That is the game Conker. Now, it's only really played once a year during chestnut season in England. And Dave Jackins is King Conker. He has been competing in the competition for like 40 years. He's 82. This man is the King Conker. And this year, Cordell, he finally won.
Wait, he's been going full Ash Ketchum on this?
He's been going full Ash Ketchum on this, and he finally won. Now, here's where the scandal comes in.
Oh no.
Someone approaches Dave after the competition, congratulating King Conker for finally winning. And he notices something weird in his pocket. And he's like, hey, Dave, what's that?
No.
And Dave pulls out a steel ball painted to look like a chestnut that has a string tied around it.
Dave.
And now, what happens? There's a lot of cheating speculations. Because Dave, I didn't mention this yet, but Dave not only won, but he managed to make the conker around the thing spin all the way around and land in one hit. Requires a lot of force from your conker, a lot of mass to be put down. So
you think he
suspicious.
swapped out his conker?
People
and
think
he conked a metal ball.
People think that Dave took the steel conker that he claimed was to show the new people what a conker should look like and how it should be made. And they think he used that steel conker to fully cheat and used that to smack the conker.
Curious. So I'm still lost on how this game functions. Is it a chestnut tied to a stick and you're just trying to hit it real hard? Do you pick your chestnut and stick?
Yeah, you pick your chestnut. Okay. So, imagine this, right? So I've got a stick right here. And hanging down from this, from like a foot long piece of string, is a chestnut about here, right?
Okay.
You also have a chestnut on a about 12-inch piece of string. And you are going to take it from your hand and you are going to try and hit this chestnut so hard that it wraps around until it touches.
Oh, it's like tetherball, but you have to swing a different tetherball to hit the tetherball.
Yes. It is tetherball sideways with a second tetherball.
A second tetherball has hit the post. That's why they call it conkers, because they conk together.
They conk. Yeah, they're called conkers. And Dave is King Conker, and he is being accused of cheating and using a steel ball. Yes.
Why is he King Conker if he's only just now won after 40 years of beef in it?
Good question. I'm not sure if it's like I've not found if
Is it
it's like
just
a
the winner is
title
the
that they
king?
call them that. Yeah, because they also called a girl that came over from America, who's a 34-year-old named Kelsey Banchback. She is from Indianapolis, and she actually gained the title of World Conker Championship champion. She probably beat Dave, but she's from America, and they call her Queen Conker. So Dave is still King Conker, and Dave has been going to the competition since he was a kid because they started in 1965 is when the World Conker Championships began.
Okay.
And so he's been going since he was a kid. And so it may be like he's been going forever. He finally won. He was also, I forgot to leave out a very juicy detail. He was also the head judge.
What? You
Yes,
can't judge a competition
you can if you're King Conker.
Okay, but again, I don't think we should call him King Conker. Like if I went to the hot dog eating contests and lost to Joey Chestnut every year, they wouldn't call me King Dog.
Would they though? Because I would.
No,
I'd call
okay,
you
but
King Dog.
You call me that anyway, buddy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So my question in all this though is why would Mr. Jackins, why would he reveal his cheating implement if he were cheating?
So now,
Like why would he openly pull it out of his pocket and be like, "Oh yeah, it's just this thing." If he cheated with it.
yeah, and that is what's going on. Is this was a few days ago that they were like, "Oh, you cheated." So then they had other judges from regional Conquer championships and as well as Conquer umpires come in and review the
Can we call them cumpires?
Cumpires, yeah. So we got regional judges and some cumpires come in and they review the footage of Dave Jackins using his Conker. And I'm not gonna lie, it took them 2 days of reviewing footage.
So I have to imagine every single one of these judges and cumpires is also as old as Dave Jackins. And so my theory is that it's a bunch of elderly people in a room with a like dial-up modem for 2 days trying to get it to function. And then once the picture pulls up, they're like, "Oi, that's a chestnut." And then it's over.
So essentially, Conquer championships apparently basically have to have like full video footage of everything that goes on because apparently this is not an uncommon thing to have to review footage. So, so they are reviewing footage for almost 2 days, and then the investigators finally determined that it would have been nearly impossible for Jackins to have swapped out his Conker for the steel one.
Yep.
So,
vindication for my boy Jackins, King Conker.
King Conker is the king right now.
Yes.
And
Conk is king.
So first of all, we have the name Dave Jackins, which is already incredibly British.
Yep.
The person he beat in the championship, first of all, accepted the defeat with good grace and good sportsmanship.
Like any good Konksman.
His name is Alistair Johnson Ferguson. And
Alistair Johnston Ferguson.
He also accused Dave Jackins of cheating. So he launched the accusations, and then when it came out that they couldn't be true, he backpedaled.
And then he was like, "Oh, I gracefully accept my loss," after trying to cover his butt by like lying and saying he cheated. I bet Alistair planted the steel ball.
So that's the thing, is that our beloved King Conker did say that he did have the steel ball, but it was in order to amuse the other contestants. This is the most British shit ever, and I love it so much.
Also, what was this competitor's name?
Alistair Johnson Ferguson.
That
And yeah.
is he also as old as King Conk?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Alistair Johnston Ferguson is a name that has tried human flesh before.
Yes. 100%. And I just also wanted to say, hey, Alistair, if you want to you can take the American route of when you lose and it's very obvious you lost, and then you accuse somebody of cheating and winning, and then they prove you wrong. You can still say that you won. Like apparently,
you
that's
can
still
just
okay.
never. You don't have to admit the truth ever.
No.
And a startling portion of people will back you up, Alistair.
But I just wanted to. I want to say officially that Junkhouse recognizes Dave Jackins as King Conker. And we are here to support you, Dave. We fight for Dave Jackins, okay? Don't do anything problematic. Please.
I just know this man has said the most heinous things.
Probably. He probably voted for Thatcher back in the day, but we can look past it.
A lot of people voted for Thatcher. That's how she won. So it is the trend though of oh wow, person gets in spotlight, just waiting for them to say the thing that makes us wish they weren't in the spotlight. Like whenever the hurricane hit, did you hear about that guy on a boat in Florida or whatever?
Yeah.
Like I don't even know the full thing, but his whole deal, I guess, was he was just on a boat writing it out, and he became this overnight guy, and then within a day said the N-word while streaming.
Yeah.
Fully
believe it, because I saw videos of that guy, and I was like, he's not that. Yeah, there's something up with him.
It was the least surprising development.
Yeah, but Dave, don't do anything.
Don't do it, Dave.
That's the thing. Okay,
eat your crumpets and shut up, Dave.
Eat the crumpets, drink the tea. Don't say anything.
Practice your conking till next year.
Yes. Just hold on. Next year, come on, become King Conker again. I'm gonna root for you. I'm gonna root for you at 83.
It's so impressive to be an 82-year-old and to swing a little chestnut on a string and hit another chestnut on a string attached to a stick so hard that it wraps all the way around in one hit. That's genuinely impressive.
It really is.
I could not do that.
It just, I mean, I'm looking at photos of this event. He is locked in. He is focused.
Oh, of course he is.
It's a lot. And I'm you know what? I think from now on, I'm not going to talk about any big celebrities because they're more likely to do some heinous stuff. If I talk about some middling celebrity that probably nobody cares about out in America, I'm probably okay.
This isn't middling. This is a person that you don't realize has a following until someone explains. And it's like learning about a new kind of streaming where it's people watch that and it's oh yeah, people watch that.
Well, it's I mean, people we're both fans of, but the McElroy brothers. If you start talking about the McElroys in public, people are gonna be who are you talking about? And then you're oh no, they have millions of followers.
Right. Or I mean, honestly, Dropout. Any Dropout thing, yes. Most people haven't heard of Dropout. But then it's if I met one of those people in public, I'd be yo, that's awesome.
Have you seen Gastronauts yet?
I have not.
It
looks awesome.
It's so good. So it's Dropout, great show, great streaming service. Highly recommend it. If you're listening to us, you probably have a Dropout subscription, but if you don't, get one. Gastronauts is 3 comedians giving actual chefs challenges to do.
Yep.
Brennan Lee Mulligan had them make the heaviest dish, And not like heavy as in like, oh, these are heavy flavors. Literal actual weight of the dish was factored into who won. And specifically,
Oh.
his metric was if you can drop this on my head from 6 feet above, it should be able to knock me out. And it's so good. And I've never related more to somebody. I'm like, yes, that is
Oh,
that
yeah.
is correct. Oh, it's so good. That's
Mm.
very good. Cordell, do you have any Oktoberfest updates this week?
So I need to find some time and go ham on some horror because I've been slacking. I had a really fast start and then life happens.
Yeah.
So I told you I watched the Happy Death Day movies.
Right.
I told you I watched Oddity. Or did I do that?
I think you
since
started
we
it
recorded?
but did not finish it.
Okay, I finished it. It's a good movie.
Oh, okay.
I liked it.
I might check that out.
It's the kind of horror that's like simple but effective. Like it had a like the premise is that a woman tries to avenge her twin sister's death using haunted objects.
Ooh. That sounds fun.
Right. And like that's the idea, and the whole movie is that, and like there's not really much, like it's a very lean plot. Like a lot of the runtime is spent on atmosphere and like character work and not on like new plot development. It's just it's very well done.
I like that a lot. That sounds like a really cool thing. Also, haunted objects does make me think of JJK. So that's also
Right.
fun.
Right. And then yesterday I was hunting for a new anime to start. I think I'm gonna start. I'm watching Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead.
Okay.
Do you know what this is?
I've never heard of this.
So it's decent. It's fine. I'm liking it. It's fun. But the whole premise is that this dude has been working at a like horrible company. And has been forced to work unpaid overtime and basically 7 days a week, sometimes overnighters, like
disgusting,
for 3 years. Like, and so he's a shell of a man. He hates himself. He's an anxious wreck. And then he wakes up one morning and finds out the zombie apocalypse ended the world.
Oh my gosh.
And he's thrilled because he doesn't have to go back to work.
What did they do that?
And so it is this dude using the zombie apocalypse. He writes out a bucket list and decides to try and knock things off his bucket list. Because like he's going to turn into a zombie eventually. Like they're going to get him one way or another. But he's living for the first time in a couple years.
That's so funny.
And it's very like, so the episode I just watched, one of the things on his bucket list, he always had a childhood dream to be a superhero. So they go to the aquarium and he gets a shark diving suit and tries to go save people because it's shark bite proof. So zombie bites won't get through the suit.
That's so fun. I love that.
It's very fun. It's a cute show. I'm enjoying it generally. It's not like the best thing you've ever watched, but it's a fun like Oktoberfesty easy watch.
Yeah. Is it like how many episodes is that? Is it like a continuing, still going anime, or is it over? Or
it's got 12 episodes.
Okay.
I don't know that it's getting another season. It came out in 2023.
That's still not impossible that it'll get more, though.
It's possible. But yeah, I think the manga went beyond what the anime did. And then the last Oktoberfesty thing is I've been listening to an audiobook by Josh Malerman. It's called Incidents Around the House.
You've told me about this book.
Yeah, I don't know if I talked about it on the show, so I'll keep it brief. But like the whole concept is it's a like, you know those stories where some ghost or demon or spirit is trying to possess a kid?
Yes.
It's that, but from the kid's perspective.
Okay.
And so like the opening thing of the book is like this little girl's parents saying goodnight to her, and then they leave the room. And then she says goodnight to other mommy and goes to sleep.
Oh no.
And like, so the whole book is her like, cause she's like young. And the whole thing is her, like in the beginning, she's kind of conflicted because like other mommy's been her friend for so long, but also she like doesn't like that she's starting to like leave the closet more and starting to like leave her bedroom and like go out a little bit more. And she keeps asking if she'll let her into her heart.
Disgusting.
Like, right. And so like it's very, and apparently like I'm about a little over halfway through and a lot's happened, but we still don't know exactly what this thing is. But it's described as like having a sideways face and sometimes eyes on the side of its head and hairy arms and slithering across. Very, very, very well done. Very atmospheric. It's the pacing is quicker than I thought, but I'm also continually like, what more plot could there be here? And then there's more. So it's a concept that could easily have been pretty dang boring, but I'm liking it a lot. I read this author mainly writes horror. He wrote Bird Box.
Okay. I think that's what I think I heard the name because you talked about that.
So he wrote Bird Box, which I'm curious about reading his book. And then the book I read by him like the beginning of the year was called Goblin, and it was 6 novellas set in the same small town of Goblin. And it's very, I enjoyed it a lot, and it's crazy because in this book, in like the chapter I just finished, they're continually driving around because they have nowhere to stay because they don't know where to go to get away from this other mommy because she's following them. Yeah. And anytime they stop for long enough, she shows up. And so they're just driving, and then this chapter's like, we drove around Goblin today, and I was like, yo, shared universe.
They said the thing.
And it's such a simple thing. I think every author should do it. Every author should do the Stephen King, Brandon Sanderson thing of like, anything you write, just throw in a little connection here and there. It makes me foam at the mouth. When I'm reading a thing and it's connected to another thing I read, I lose my mind.
I love that. That sounds really fun. I like it when things do that though. Like I do like it when it's like a shared universe and stuff. It's an interesting connection.
I've thought about shared universes a lot as a superhero fan, but also like as a Brandon Sanderson fan, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Cosmere's all interconnected, and it's a very rewarding experience when it's done well. But also, you know, we have people mocking the MCU and other failed like movie universes because they started out doing it well and now they do it poorly.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a way that it's a chore and there's a way that it's an enriching experience. Brandon Sanderson's got the enriching experience down.
Right.
He's like, you read any of his books and they work on their own. Yeah. You might not fully understand everything, but they work. But if you've read them all, you see all the ways they're interconnected and the different characters and the different things that line up.
If I may,
mm-hmm.
I think part of what makes a shared universe fun, at least in my opinion, is when there's randomly a standalone story that you're like, I don't know how that connects.
Yep.
That does not connect. And then 3 stories later, a book later, whatever, you get a little bit of it and you're like, oh, so this goes here. So that makes that connect. And it just like all like the fun of it is letting the audience figure out how it pieces together with you.
Yep. And
like that just does not happen in Marvel anymore because they tell you. Like we were like we saw Deadpool and Wolverine together.
Right. Yeah.
We were
good movie.
It was a good movie. It was fun, but we were also like probably 2 degrees away from the TVA straight up saying like, we're from Loki. Remember the one season that you watched and then you didn't watch the second one because you're kind of tired of this bullshit? Like we were so close to just that happening on screen.
Right. And it's so what are the odds that you ever read Brandon Sanderson?
If I can find a way to get the audiobooks for not money, maybe.
Yeah, not money's going to be tough. A library.
Oh yeah, probably.
Library is the way to go if you were interested in that. But anyway, Brandon Sanderson does the standalone with minor connections perfectly.
Which is awesome.
Like, have you heard about his secret projects when COVID hit?
Yeah, I heard about that, and he like wrote 3 books
4.
during what?
So
4?
COVID hits, and like later into the year, he's like, he puts out a video and he's like, I've been lying to you is the title of the video. And he's like, hey, yeah, I've been working on 4 manuscripts in secret without telling my publishers or anybody. And now I'm going to do a Kickstarter for them.
That's
and of course, like,
crazy.
Most funded Kickstarter ever.
Yeah.
But they're so each of them, right? There's 4 of them. 3 of them are Cosmere. 1 is just him having fun and writing. But of the 3 Cosmere ones, they're all standalone. And they all have connections that if you've read other books, you catch and know. And if you haven't, the story is not diminished at all. It's Tress of the Emerald Sea, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and the Sunlit Man.
I have heard somebody recommended that I read Tress of the Emerald Sea.
So if you're curious about Brandon Sanderson, Tress is the easiest way to check him out because the book is like Princess Bride meets Brandon Sanderson, basically. Like because it's written almost like a fantasy, like a fairy tale. Like it's written to be quick and rollicking and fun more than anything else.
Okay. I like that.
But like if you know about Cosmere stuff, you see all the connections. And so you're reading it, and like the narrator, for example, is the easiest one that everybody knows about if they read Brandon Sanderson. The narrator is named Hoyd.
Hoyd?
Hoyd, Hoid. Hoyd is like the careful Googling this man, because you're gonna get spoilers for everything he's ever written. If
You're
you look
good.
Up
I'm Googling his other books that are
non-Cosmere?
Non-Cosmere, yes.
He's got a handful out there.
I read his kids' books growing up. The Alcatraz versus
books.
the Evil Librarians series. And I freaking love them.
So Tress is like, if I were gonna like have a kid read Brandon Sanderson's like Cosmere stuff, like a like 13-year-old, it'd be Tress because it's so well done.
Okay.
But it's fun and it's easy and it's moving, but you see like there are off the top of my head like 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 very obviously like maybe 7 or 8. Like there's a lot that if you've read any of his other series, you're picking up on details that he's putting in there that you absolutely don't need to understand the story. Yeah. And that's doing it right, you know? But the example I really love is in Sunlit Man. It takes place at some point beyond everything he's published so far.
I love that.
So and maybe Yumi and Tress as well. It's hard to tell. None of the 3 standalones do you really know where they stand chronologically. And it's kind of similar for a lot of his stuff. Like his individual series, you know the time frame within them, but you don't quite know how they all fit.
But
the Sunlit Man is set like legitimately in the future.
Okay.
Where there's like space travel and whatnot.
Dope. Okay.
And so it's what he's been quietly building to the whole time is blending magic and technology.
You've told me about that before. That like there's already elements of it. And
so there's elements of it in some of his works, and you're seeing what it can build to and what it will build to through the lens of this standalone story. And it's super cool because it is still like emotionally connected to modern stuff, like current things he's writing. Like it's so well done, but it makes me like foam at the mouth ready for like more. he's mastered the shared universe thing because it's all quality and it's like a lot of Marvel stuff, a lot of okay, easiest example, it's not Marvel, it's when they tried to start the Dark Universe with The Mummy,
Oh
Tom
my
Cruise.
gosh, yeah.
That movie didn't try to just be a good movie. It tried to be sowing the seeds of a shared universe, right?
Right.
Like, instead of just being a movie about the mummy and then we meet the organization for 5 minutes at the end, a lot of the plot is heavily involved with this evil hunting organization. And then you meet, oh, it's Dr. Jekyll. And then he turns into Mr. Hyde in the same movie, like 2 scenes later. Like,
yeah.
Instead of just telling a story and sowing seeds, it just like throws it all in your face.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson does the opposite. And that's, I could talk about him forever.
Did you ever read his the Alcatraz books?
No, but I wish I had, because it would have changed my life as a kid.
Okay, so I was talking to my wife about this the other day. When I was a child, my most watched movie was not a kids movie necessarily. It was the film adaptation of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That movie's so good.
Alcatraz is definitively Hitchhikers for kids.
Awesome.
Like I tempted to buy these books and reread them as an adult because they were just they like fundamentally changed the way I think about books a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was in the second or third. So either Scrivener's Bones or Knights of Crystalia. I don't know which one. There is one chapter where everything goes wrong completely. And the next chapter opens up with Brandon Sanderson writing, "That was bad. Instead of reading that, cut this chapter out and glue it in place of that chapter. This is now the new chapter. Ignore that."
What?
Yes.
Awesome.
There's also one chapter I know this one was in the fourth book, that opens up with the guy with like the uncle of the story just kind of being like, "All right, ready team, go. We know the plan." And Brandon Sanderson writing, "Now I know you don't know the plan, but they know the plan. Here's how." And basically saying that in the chapter breaks, the characters still do stuff.
I love it.
And they discuss the plan in the chapter break.
That's so good. So if you like that style, Tress and to a point Yumi and the Nightmare Painter are written in that style, because that silly, goofy hitchhiker's wink at the audience is Hoyd. Yeah.
Okay, I will read Tress. I will read Tress.
And so Hoyd is, imagine that goofy wink at the audience style stapled onto an immortal that killed God.
Oh! Okay. Okay. I like that. That sounds fun as heck.
Yeah. Because it's not even a spoiler for any book. It's kind of woven in throughout the Cosmere in general, but everything you read about in the shared universe is made of, like, all of the gods are what are called splinters. They're shards and splinters.
Okay.
They are fragments of the original god. Of the like OG god where all magic and energy came from, got killed by a group of people a long time ago. And then the fragments of that god formed other gods on all the different worlds.
I'm fascinated by this.
Yes.
Okay,
You'd
I want to
love
say
the
this.
Lore.
I'm gonna say this now here. Hi, if you guys also listen to Nat Wonderful, I promise I have never read Brandon Sanderson, and any similarities are accidents. Yeah. So remember that if you listen to Nat Wonderful and we get to my next season.
Yeah. It's not like the most original concept in the world, but it's super cool.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's all about the way
yeah.
you execute it.
And like I respect cool. Like
Right.
I gotta respect that. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
I really do think like is it a lot to get through? Yeah, but is it a chore? Never.
I
Like the
dig it.
closest Brandon Sanderson gets to being a chore for me is the second book of the Mistborn trilogy. And even then that book is good.
I think you are to Brandon Sanderson as I am currently to One Piece, where it's like
Yep.
it feels like I'm like, it's never a chore. Is it sometimes a little bit slower? Yes. Never a chore.
And to that end, I do understand that asking someone to cold go into reading Brandon Sanderson is a lot like asking someone to start season 1, episode 1 of One Piece. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, you're going to love the journey. You're going to love the ride. And they're like, this is the rest of my life if I do this. You know what you're
I
doing to me. You're
so
imprisoning me. And
here's
you're
what
like
I'm gonna
dancing around excited for what they watch.
this is what's also kind of wild to me. I hit episode 800
Oh,
last Sunday. So
golly.
no, yeah. So October 13th, I hit episode 800. This past Sunday, the 20th, I looked at my episode count and saw 850. So that means 50 episodes in a week. And it is this arc I'm on is it's just so good. I can't like it is one of those that I just like I keep eating, you know? It's like when you go to a buffet and you're just like, I need more. Now I have not watched since this Sunday, and I'm probably gonna watch more later, but
Yeah.
I'm also
It's
almost done with this arc. I'm like 30 episodes away.
I think that's the real indicator, though, of like quality storytelling in a dense narrative, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of One Piece and there's a lot of Cosmere.
Yes.
And the difference between those and there being a lot of MCU is that the MCU it's pretty quickly became a chore for a lot of people, but people were still willing to do it, right? It's like, oh, I gotta
Yeah.
watch some meh movies and then you get awesomeness because of it. But now it's like, if
Yes.
I want to understand any of it, I have to have seen so much, and the quality of what's coming out isn't worth me putting in the homework to watch it.
Yeah.
And so it's like that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
especially as two people who used to be literally making a podcast because we love superheroes so much.
Yeah. I like it. I yeah. Yeah. It's not fun. It's not fun anymore. I'm like,
No.
that is part of the problem is that, like, I think they have lost what makes it fun.
Yeah, and for myself, right? Like I've always wanted to be a writer, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm trying to learn from seeing these things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
fall more on the Brando Sando way of doing it, cuz yeah, I'm going to be a fantasy writer and it's going to be a lot eventually, I'm sure. But if you do it well, it's about finding fun connections and about seeing a cool thing and not like, oh, good, another middling movie with characters that they don't actually respect anymore
Yeah.
with the same kind of humor and tone. And like, if they didn't all feel like the same movie, like
For real.
even Deadpool 3, like Deadpool and Wolverine was a good movie. I liked it, but also it's the same exact tone as the first two Deadpools and the same tone, just more vulgar as all of the MCU at this point.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
the homogenizing, I think, is what really makes it a chore. Like any given Brandon Sanderson series feels different. Those those secret projects I listed, each one of them has a distinctly different feeling and energy to reading them. They're different stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
That yeah, honestly thinking about how Marvel has gone downhill, it's a bummer. I mean,
yeah.
I'm still gonna go see some of the movies,
Some.
but like it's I'm also gonna be upset when I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna let, like, as a person who has kind of decided to quit caring, feels really good to be free of it and to like people will talk about Star Wars stuff and they'll like argue about new shows or whatever, and it's like, frankly, I quit caring sometime after, like, I mean, they finished the newest trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
And then they put out like Mandalorian season 2 or something, and I just kind of quit. And
I
I
don't even
haven't.
think I watched Mandalorian.
The
I
first
don't even
season's fine, but like I realized that, one, no one's like, no matter what they put out, someone's gonna be mad. But two, like, you get the feeling that in some ways, okay, I don't think it's as accurate with Star Wars as it is with Marvel, but they don't respect the characters. And
Interesting.
I don't think they respect the stories they're telling. And I can feel that. And then that makes me want to quit. So it's like leaving when it feels like the authors and the writers and the makers don't respect what they're doing. I'm okay walking away. And some of Star Wars felt like that, like making a trilogy with no plan. Cool, great. Thank you for nothing.
Yeah.
But like Thor, the whatever the most new one, Love and Thunder.
Oh, Love and Thunder, yeah.
Like, zero respect for anything that happened in that movie.
Yeah, like Love and Thunder was fun, and I'm putting a question mark on that.
Right.
Like, yeah, I liked Love and Thunder when I first watched it. I have watched it since then. I like it a lot less.
And what's crazy is I don't think it's because the plot is bad. There's, I think, I have a little theory about it. There's 10 to 15 minutes of the movie that you can cut out, and it will be a decent movie that cares about its characters.
Yeah.
Like, it's specific moments that they undercut what they're doing and make a mockery of what they're working with. If
Yeah.
you do specific moments, you're fine.
Yeah, that is something I know when I write mostly D&D campaigns. That is my writing
Right.
specialty. Pretty good at that. And something I do that I'm sure you do when you write stuff is I evaluate each piece that I have. And I think if I cut this, does it hurt the narrative or does it hurt the plot? And then if it doesn't, then I have to ask, does it help it in any way if I cut it or if I leave it?
Right.
If it's neutral, it just depends on how much I have to pad it out.
Yeah.
But if it's going to help it if I cut it, I just cut it. I don't care
Yeah.
how much work has gone into it already. There's no point.
And I mean, not everything has to directly serve the story, but serve something, right? Serve characterization, serve tone. Sometimes you want to serve comedy. Like everything, like what you're doing needs to add to the whole. And it's like for me, right? Whenever like I've got a little writing group I have here in Townsville, and we're like helping each other like stay accountable and like plot things out and share what we're doing. And I've got the loose plotting of the first 3 books of a 4-book series.
Dang. Okay.
Like the general overall story for most of it, and then I don't quite know how I'd want to wrap it all up, right?
Yeah.
And that's really neat and really scary, but like there's a moment in the first book. Well, there's a couple moments throughout that I'm wanting to do, but like part of my thing is that I want there to be like I would like to write more, and I would like for it to all be like small ways connected, like not even on Brandon Sanderson's level. Like he's clearly building to an overall crossover narrative thing. I don't even know that I'd want to do that. I would just want to have the ability to pick and choose whatever I want, right?
Yeah. Right.
And there's an idea I've got for ways to like drop hints and drop moments that are like, hey, there's more beyond this story if you care and if you want to go. There's more that I can make.
Yeah.
But I have so much like trepidation in putting those parts in because I don't want it to feel like an ad break.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I don't want it to feel like, oh, and now here's where I advertise for whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I realize is if it's actually connected to plot and character, it doesn't feel like an ad break. Like if this moment serves to further develop a character or their journey or the mood or the tone or even just like how screwed over they are, that's worthwhile for the narrative. And then
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it got tacked in there as like a hey, look at what else I can do, you know?
Yeah, I always try to, whenever I'm writing a campaign, like something you said of like it has to serve something. There's
Right.
been stuff in the current campaign that I've written that I've changed or I've kept that I was gonna cut because I know some of the characters that are coming in, and I'm like, oh, that will help that character. This will help that. That will give them a possible moment if they take it.
Right.
And yeah, so like, yeah.
And one thing that's really changed my writing perspective too is like, and I think it's a normal progression, but like when you start writing, you write this, then this, then this, then this, and then you make characters do it
Yeah.
rather than character decides X, so plot moves forward. You know? Like it feels like it should be the same, but it's not. You know, you have sometimes the plot moves forward and the characters are dragged by the plot. And that's not good writing. But
Yeah.
whenever the characters drive the plot, you know, that's storytelling, baby.
That's that good stuff.
Yeah. But it's
Ah,
yeah. It's weird to like it's weird.
yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. I get it. Well, you want to hear about some change ups in the One Piece trading card game meta?
Yes.
There's been some big shifts in the meta, Cordell. I'm talking huge, like monstrous changes. A leader that has not been relevant since 7 sets ago is now extremely relevant again. Uh, and it's just it's so good.
Mm.
It's shifted a lot. There is one leader that is the if you listen to this and play, it is the blue Donkey Hunted of Flamingo deck. That has been relevant for long enough. I feel like it's gonna get a nerf any day now.
Mm.
I feel like they're gonna target one of the cards. I'm not sure which one. Maybe the Jinbei card, not sure, because Jinbei is kind of the strongest card in that deck, in my opinion.
How do they nerf
But
stuff in One Piece?
ban
Okay,
bannings
okay.
typically. They have done errata before.
It's not ideal in a printed game.
It's not, and typically they errata leaders specifically. Um,
Because they can
and
just reprint.
they can reprint leaders pretty easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the character cards, it's I feel like because Jinbei as a card is a 4 cost, 5,000 power that on play you can play up to 1/7 warlords type from your hand other than Jinbei. So it basically can give you it's a free card.
Right.
It's 2 cards for 1 in a well-built deck. And the Don Quixote del Flamingo deck basically just guarantees you're drawing like 3 or 4 cards a turn.
Yeah. That's too much.
So, yeah. So I think that's not gonna get I think one of the cards in there is gonna bite
Yeah.
the dust.
That is one of the things that has kind of made Marvel Snap my go-to card game and the one that I've like continued to come back to and enjoy even with like economy nonsense happening
Yeah.
is the balancing of the game is fantastic.
That's what's made me want to get back into it.
So what they do is, like, for example, they 3 times a month will do balancing.
Oh, the flyovers, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
there's
from in the
over the
air or
air,
whatever.
OTA, over the air updates. They will take 3 to 5 cards usually and either tweak their power a little bit, tweak their cost, or tweak their effect. And so they look at the meta, they look at what's overperforming, they look at what's underperforming, and they target things to keep it balanced. So it's like, and it's amazing what 1 power will do for a card.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, thinking about Magic, like, if you
Right.
add 1 toughness to a card, it may ruin or make it in Modern.
Right.
So,
And so it's like them being able to multiple times a month adjust the meta, and watching decks go from dominant to like middling and back to like just moving decks around with like the adjustment of slight numbers here and there. It's fantastic. Card acquisition's a nightmare if you're behind, but the game is still fun even when you're behind. You just don't get to play everything you wish you could.
yeah.
I've been on the grind for Marvel Snap. I am in the top 500 for North America.
Oh my gosh, you went from top 1,000 to top 500 in a week.
Yes, I've been on the grind. I've not, my lowest, like my highest rank so far has been 430.
That's crazy.
And I've even, I think it was yesterday, or it was yesterday morning, I decided to try my hand at brewing. Because it's a card game, right? You build decks. They're 12 card decks. There's not a ton of brewing room because generally decks work together and are synergistic, and you'll plug in a package here. You'll be like, okay, these 3 cards and these 3 cards and then some tech, and you put it together, right?
Yeah.
So brewing's not super easy until you like really get the game.
Right.
But I've got a brew that I'm currently 60% win rate. I've gone 23 and 15 with it since I made it. And I think it's good. It's hard to tell because sometimes you get a lot of wins because no one knows your deck.
Yeah.
And no one knows how to play around it, and you're doing strange things that they can't follow.
Yeah.
But I've been trying my hand at brewing. I figure, hey, I'm climbing up here enough. It's time to like see what I can build, see what I can do. I would love to like make a deck that becomes meta relevant, but I don't think this will be the one, but I'm very proud of its performance. I think it's like on a real level, you ever have those decks that feel like they're 1 card away from being perfect?
My current pet deck in One Piece is that deck. It is like 1 away from just being. It just needs something.
Right.
And I don't know what it needs, but it needs something.
I know what mine needs. But it's a problem because in Marvel Snap, they put out like 5 or 6 new cards a month.
Right.
And it's 1 a week, and then a season pass will have a new card in it. So the game, the game is drip fed changes, which helps too. You don't get a full set dropping in and mixing things up.
Right.
But it's a discard deck.
Okay.
Is what I've got, but it's not a
Is it the Hella deck that you talked about before?
No. So Hella is I'll share screen with you real quick. So this is actually what makes it different, is it is not a discard deck like you would traditionally see. So it's this one I'm highlighting cards in right now.
Okay.
So typical discard is more of like, you usually run a lot bigger cards. Like there's 6 turns in the game, you cap out at 6 energy. I cap out at 3 energy on the cards I play in this deck.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more of a low to the ground thing. The idea is that I have different cards that scale, like Morbius, it's Morbin time. He scales for each card you discarded. Werewolf by Night moves and gets power each time you play an on-reveal card. And then I have like Dakin, whose power doubles when you discard the card he makes. And then Strong Guy gets strong if you have an empty hand. So I have like cards that all work together and scale higher pretty synergistically. And then the rest of the deck is either discard targets like Scorn or Swarm, or cards that discard like Blade, Colleen, Gambit, Moon Knight. The thing this deck is missing specifically is one more good discarder.
Okay.
And I don't know that I'm going to get it. I don't know, because currently I have 4 cards that discard and 1 card that can repeat a discard ability.
Oh, so yeah, you really just need one more for it to really.
Yep. I am 1 away from having the list, but the problem is discard as an archetype is hard to design new cards for them, because you print like and I think they might adjust a card, but like if you put the wrong card into the archetype, suddenly it's too tuned, right? Because the balance of discard is that you are using up your resources, but the payoff is that it's harder to interact with than most archetypes.
Yeah.
Because there's not much you can do on the board against them. So it's hard for them to like make new cards that discard because of that advantage. So I don't know if I'm gonna get that last card I want, but I'm gonna keep tweaking with the deck, because like I've got a good win rate with it. It's been performing well. It feels like there is one adjustment I need to make. And it might not even be a discard. It might just be a different target for it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep searching, but I'm proud of the work so far.
I want to hear more about it. I want to hear updates on that. See how it works.
Yeah, if you got nothing going on after this, I could just stream and you watch it play and see the work it does.
Yes.
Sweet.
So speaking of things that work real good, it's the Psychobilly Free Guy by the Reverend Horton Heat off the album Smoke 'em If You Got 'em. Normally Sammy does this, so I guess I'll do this. You can follow us on TikTok. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube if you search Junk House Podcast. On TikTok and Twitter, it's Junk House Pod. And those are all good places. And we might be streaming soon. We're still trying to figure out exactly what that looks like. But the minute we find out, y'all will find out. So
correct. Yeah. I'm getting closer to winning. And if you want to email us, you can email us at junkhousemaiLbox@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about streaming. Let us know if there's a specific time that works for you. I can't guarantee it'll affect what we do at all, but it's nice to know.
It's nice to know. And you know what? Just like we say every single week,
I miss Sammy.
I really miss Sammy.
I miss her a lot. Like,
this is
like we just spent an hour with zero chemistry and content. Like
zero chemistry, zero content, and 0 bits.
0 bits. I miss Sammy.
It's like a Billy Freak.